Morning, guys. Saturday morning here in Rusty, Rhode Island, April 27th, 2024. I had that skylight hanging around on my property for about a decade, and last year I finally put it up in the roof. And I had a couple of small issues. After the winter, I went up and resealed again a couple of spots that broke loose where the rubber was attached to the aluminum. Guess the weight of the ice pushes it down, but that's all set again. No more leaks in the last rain. So, oil change Saturday here in Rusty, Rhode Island. I went over to the, picked up a filter and everything for it. I'm going to get my butt up under there and drain some oil. So, got the oil draining under here. You know, it used to be I could do an oil change, put it on the rack, and do an oil change in about 15 minutes, including greasing the front end, have it out the door. But on my own vehicles, I like to let it just sit there and drip. You can see it's just a steady drip. It'll do that for hours. But since it's my vehicle and I'm not in a rush, I'm going to let all that dirty oil I can get out. I used Seafoam before I changed the oil. Yesterday afternoon I put some Seafoam. I ran them over for a while. And then today I went up to the bank and came in and just pulled the drain plug. And it looked kind of dark brown when I was looking at it before I put the Seafoam in. And it came out, man, like looking like crude oil. And it's nothing wrong with cleaning the engine every time right before you. It helps, and by keeping it clean, and your oil lasts longer too, but also helps cool the engine better, getting the sludge off of the block. And it's a high mileage motor, and still running good though. It's got a Overdrive R4700, the early version transmission. And it goes up the highway great. I mean, I just was like doing 70 going over to the bank, just keeping up with the traffic. That's even though the speed limit's 55 around here. So I fill the oil filter up with oil. The reason I do that is you don't want the motor to run dry. So I'm assuming most people do that, fill the filter up. I remember back in the day when I was running the garage, I said I could do an oil change 15 minutes. I remember the Ford 306 cylinders had the oil filter sticking straight out the side. And I would put a little bit of oil in there, but you couldn't, it would spill out when you go to put it on. But you always want to wet the filter a little bit so it don't collapse on itself with a big air bubble. You start it up and you'd hear the lifters going tick, 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 tick. Then it would quiet up. But the Chevrolets, like I say, you could fill the filter all the way. It never did that. And I always wonder why Ford just didn't turn that filter down. I mean, how much could it cost for that aluminum block that would have turned it down, That's why I don't run Fords, man. I think sometimes they don't think about what they're doing. 530 synthetic blend oil. I use the parasynthetic oil. I don't use a straight synthetic, but you get the protection with the parasynthetic, and then with the conventional oil. Problem is, on older vehicles, sometimes if you run straight synthetic, it pours right through the seals, and it's got to do with the construction of the molecules. Where conventional oil, crude oil, the molecules are all different sizes. And it kind of makes a dam, where the synthetic, they're all the same and it can flow right through. That's the way it was described to me. It's funny how I can remember stuff like that, but I can remember the point gap on a 62 Falcon in the Dwell. But I can't remember to bring the bread and milk home when I run past the bank. Out from Rusty, Rhode Island. Enjoy your Saturday.